Hey WCA, Mike Amori. Welcome to the Week 6 update. Let's go to work. I mentioned in class several times, and I've been talking in the blog a lot about solving puzzles. And I firmly believe there's two ways that you should be doing them. One, nothing wrong with taking advantage of the online sources like your ChessKit account. That's what you're looking at here. This could be chess.com or any other online program that offers puzzles or tactics. The advantage of doing them online is how fast you can do them. You don't have to set up pieces, etc. However, I think it's important that occasionally you set up positions at home on a real chessboard so that you get the feel of what it's like in a real tournament. Okay? Pause your video. What should black do? How do you know it's black's move? On ChessKit, it tells you your move. See where my mouse is going up here? As black. Okay, pause the video. Okay, this one is not so hard because this puzzle setting is not that high right now. We have checkmate in one move, right? Okay, so you see how the rating went up from 814 to 819? You can see it right over here on the right. Click next. Pause the video and solve the problem. So white just took the pawn on b5. It's our turn as black. So really not that hard. Your bishop is being attacked by the rook, but always look for loose pieces, pieces on the board that are not protected. So in this position, black can simply take a whole rook. And I can just hear some of you now, come on, Mike, these are easy. Okay, they're easy. Keep doing them. So let's see, I'm going to make this like a 10-minute video. So let's just see how high we can get this rating up on the right side. And remember, you guys have your own puzzle accounts, so use them. All right, I'm going to click next. Here we go. All right, we're playing white this time. Black just played queen d6. It's our turn. So the first thing I noticed when I went to solve this puzzle is that our queen here, you see this lady right here, is pointing right at the king. And that means this pawn here on c6 is pinned. So did you guys find the really nice move, knight to b5, check, which is going to win the queen. It's a fork, and now the queen is hanging on this square. Okay, now I'm going to make a mistake on purpose. I'm going to play the wrong move, and I'm going to play queen takes pawn on c6. Now, why am I doing that? Because if you make a mistake, and you will, you see this button over here, retry. Unfortunately, because I made a mistake, I lost 6 rating points. Those are not coming back unless I solve puzzles correctly. But if I click retry, there we go. There's the move. We know the correct answer. I'll play it on the board, and the king moves. Now, watch this. This is a useful trick to know. We know in this position the correct move is knight takes queen. Correct? Yes. However, let's say you grab the queen with the mouse and you're about to take the c6 pawn, but you realize, oh man, that's a mistake. I should just take the queen with the knight. Here's a little trick if you're ever playing online. The machine will not let you play an illegal move. So what I do, I'm afraid sometimes to put the queen down on the wrong square. Like, I know she started here, but what happens if I drop her on this square? I'm going to lose rating points, right? Now, watch this. I like to try to take my own king, which is so illegal. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Watch what happens when I let go. The queen goes back to where she was. The computer does not register an error, and now I can simply take the queen. You got it? That's also very useful if you're playing a game online. And remember, it's not mouse move. So if you touch a piece with the mouse, you don't have to move it like real chess. But if you move it to the wrong square, you could have an issue. So remember that trick. Always take your own king. And then, yeah, whatever. All right, here we go. Next. All right, I want to gain some rating points now. No mistakes. Pause your video. Okay, here's a useful checkmating pattern to know. I think it's made in 3, and it begins with the move queen to e7 check, and then we're going to get a checkmate on the back rank. Now let's do our little experiment. Let's say for some reason I think queen e7 is a mistake, but I don't remember where the queen was. If I put her back on a wrong square, the computer's going to think I made the wrong move and take rating points away. So what do? That's correct. I take my own queen, my own king. Do not take a piece from the other side because that could be a legal move. So just get in the habit electronically. Just take your own king. Watch. Boom. And you'll notice the computer did not register anything. So now I'm going to play the correct move, which is first queen e7. King goes in the corner, and that's a deflection, right? We knock the king away from this square, and now we simply sacrifice the queen. The rook has to take, and then we have our checkmate, and we get 5 points. Got it? Let's go. All right, what do they want us to do here? Kind of looks like a freebie, right? I think we can just take the rook, checkmate in one. Is that what you found? Okay, sometimes they'll do that, especially if the rating is under 900 or so. But, you know, watch what happens when the rating gets higher. All right, I think I can just snap off the rook and say thank you for a nice game. I got 6 points for that. By the way, sometimes you'll get more points if you solve them faster. Don't try to do that. Solve them correctly, and the rating will go up. If you happen to get it quickly, great, but don't rush. Next. Oh boy, a lot of pieces. So let your mind get used to what you're looking at. There's a whole lot of pieces here. Pause the video. Okay, again, pretty straightforward and simple. Checkmate in one. But get used to the patterns. I know these aren't hard that I'm showing right now, so do them. Just do them. Let's get this rating up. I don't know, let's try to get to 900. You know, I think maybe I'll go 12 minutes on the video. Let's see how high we can get. Next. White to play. What's going on? I think I see a similar pattern from a puzzle we had a couple ago. Pause your videos. Okay, this one's kind of cool, right? And it's very similar to the other problem. We want to get the king away from the f8 square. So you notice we have a rook and a queen hiding down here on a2. So what do? We take the pawn check, king has to go in the corner, and then we have the same exact queen sacrifice we had a minute ago. Rook takes rook, checkmate. You keep doing these puzzles, you will never miss these positions in one of your own games. The only time you might is if you are in time pressure, and that happens to all of us. But trust me, keep doing your tactics. Let's go. Rating has to get up 60 more points or 54 more points. Okay, what's going on over here? So what you had to pick up to solve this puzzle is the fact that you have 3 pieces pointing at f8. You have the battery of queen and rook on the f file and the bishop hiding over here on a3. Look at the whole board when you play chess. You can't just look at 20 squares. There's 64 of them up there. So how do we win the game? We simply sacrifice the queen again. Check. Rook has to take, only move. And then what do? Play king h1 to protect the king? No. Rook e1 to protect the e... No. Ooh, checkmate. Again, what if I don't know what to do with this rook? Take your own king. It'll go back. Nothing changes. Then play the correct move. Ooh, checkmate. Got him. Next. Ooh, they just took a pawn from us. Pause the video. Okay. Where are your pieces attacking? What are they attacking? Look at your queen on h5. Look at the rook. The rook's being attacked by the knight, but it's too late. The queen is going to slide right through. Checkmate in one move. I got 11 points for that. My lucky day. I'm getting close to my goal. Next. Remember, after you watch this video and solve these puzzles, go do some on your own. Get your own rating even higher. Here we go. Black to play. Okay, Grandmasters, this one's a little trickier. I think we're going to start with a check on h6, correct? Okay, it's going to stop here because you're going to win a piece. I mean, you know, the queen cannot block because if she comes to h2, do you see the problem? Then there's going to be a check up here. But, you know, if they do block with the bishop and you take with the queen, you just have to figure out what would you do if the rook blocked the check. There's a lot of possibilities, but you are winning a whole piece there, and you know, that looks good enough. So you know, cheers. Let's keep going. Ah, this is starting to look familiar. Look at that. A pawn one box away from becoming Big Mama, becoming a queen. Oh boy. I know I've seen this idea twice in today's lesson. Go ahead, my friends. Look at that. Check. King in the corner. And we're going to do the same exact checkmate we've done twice before. We sack the queen. The rook takes the rook. And we're getting closer to our goal. 12 more points to go. Click next. Here we go. All right, they just played pawn a4. It is black's turn. Okay, what'd you find? I was a little, I was really interested in trying to move this knight was my first reaction to see that we can play, rook takes queen at some point. But you have to be careful because they have a rook looking down at your rook, etc. If you just play knight here right away, I think the queen can just take and get out of the way. But I think the correct answer is to take the rook up here. And then you're going to win this bishop in this position by playing what move? Did you guys find the move queen here? And then when he moves, we know we have a free bishop. But before you take the bishop, make sure this bishop can't move with a check, and then you lose your queen. You guys see that? But I don't think that's the case. So everything else we have is protected. We just win a piece. 5 more points. Let's go. Oh, I love these positions. Not too many pieces on the board, which means we should be able to, find this fairly easily. A nice pattern, one of my favorites. And we have mate in 1, and that's queen to g5. I like this move a lot because, if you stare at the king here on f6 and just look at the 5 squares that surround it that are dark, it looks like the number 5 on a pair of dice, and that's a good pattern to get into your head. You see how all those squares are covered? 14 points for that one. One more puzzle, my friends. Okay, look at that. They're trying to steal our queen. Not going to happen. I think we're going to steal theirs. Pause the video. Okay, really nice move. Why can't we just take the queen? Oh, there's a bishop in the way. Whose bishop does that belong to? Oh, that's ours. Check. And what do we do with the queen? Take the bishop, take the pawn, go back home to d8. Maybe she misses, having lunch and dinner with the king and bishop. Nah, we take the queen. All right, are you learning anything? Please, please do the puzzles.